This is Tom Biernacki, and today I'm talking about varicose veins. So this is a very, very important topic. Varicose veins, spider veins. What does the science show? What are the best home remedies? How do you avoid surgery? Is surgery worth getting? We're gonna go over all these topics, and we're gonna go over how to fix your varicose veins and spider veins starting now. So the causes of varicose veins are, you can have valves. So as your blood flows up, the valves open, but as your heart stops beating, the valves close. So your heart goes bump, bump, it opens and flows up, but in between it closes, so the blood can't flow back. But what happens with the vein is, a varicose vein, is it can break and the blood can flow back. So it's kind of moving up, but it's kind of moving back down. Then it just kind of bulges out and swells. So in between heartbeats, the blood kind of recoils a little bit and the valves are supposed to close and not let it back. Once that vein gets broken, it's hard for it to come back. But realistically, the good news is you have thousands and thousands of veins throughout your body, but only a few arteries. So for example, going down the foot and the ankle, there's only a few major arteries. If those get plugged, that's when gangrene happens. But your veins coming up to your heart, some of them can get plugged and break down over time, and it's really not the biggest deal unless there's a blood clot that can shoot up to your heart. That's a different story. But in almost all cases, a vein collapsing in on itself is not a big thing. And eventually, the surgeries, what they do is they get rid of the vein anyway. So it's not the most dangerous at the end of the day. Varicose veins usually happen on your feet, your ankles, the inside of your calf muscles, your knees. These are big, thick purple veins. They're usually dark, they can be black. They can be thick and tortuous. It looks almost like a worm underneath your skin. And the good news is this: I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know about varicose veins, but there's always the disclaimer. There's always that, 1 in 1,000 chance that it could be something dangerous, and I'm gonna go over some of these things. And I'm gonna really focus on treatments that can be done safely and effectively at home that give you great results. Surgery at the same time can be very beneficial, but realistically, if your first goal is to go do surgery, then you probably shouldn't be watching videos like this. So with varicose veins, this can lead to numbness, burning, itching, unsightly, torturous veins. But can they lead to big problems? Absolutely. They can lead to ulcers. So venous stasis ulcers can be holes on your skin with bleeding. So some of my patients, especially as you start to get obesity, diabetes, a deep vein thrombosis or a blood clot can develop in your skin. And if you have a hard, red, very painful vein that if you press on is very tight and tender, and it's only on one leg, not the other, go see your podiatrist or your emergency room immediately and get scanned for what's called a venous Doppler. So this venous Doppler will scan your vein and make sure there's not a blood clot, because the risk factors with a blood clot is it can shoot up to your lungs and plug your lungs, causing something called a pulmonary embolism. And this can lead to like a 50% chance of death. So people who are smokers, overweight, have had surgeries, broken bones, there's a high risk of blood clots associated with varicose vein. Biomechanics are really important. Tight muscles and tight joints make your feet flatten out and your knees buckle in. This is a big cause of ankle swelling that's correctable by exercise. Look at my left foot compared to my right foot. My left foot can't bend up as much as my right foot. See that? It's about a 10-degree difference, and I'll show that in a second. But see, now it has to turn out. By not being able to turn up as much and being stiff through my hamstring, through my calf muscle, it creates that difference. That means my leg will swell and get more sore through the muscles as I land on it, because that muscle and leg has to work harder. That can explain why one leg's more swollen than the other. So look at this healthy young man right here that's flexible. He's running and his feet are landing straight. They're not buckling out. This is normal running. Whereas a condition called overpronation, look at how much that ankle sags in when this person runs. As people get older and stiffer through their hamstrings, back, and calf muscles, the foot bends out, the muscles have to work harder, and as a result, they swell because the muscles are working harder. So take a look at this older gentleman. He doesn't really have flexible flexibility through his feet, ankles, and hamstrings. His muscles have to work significantly harder. This is why older people can sometimes get more swelling and sore muscles. So the reality is you have to get that leg flexible and strong. What I always recommend, just basics, icing and massaging is a great first start. So the bottom of your foot, the back of your ankle, your calf muscle, so ice balls, frozen ice cans, frozen bottles. So I give that a thumbs down because that's better for the muscles, but not on the ground. Rubber balls with those little soft nubs on them can massage your plantar fascia, gradually loosen it up. If you're in a lot of pain, massage it. Arteries bring blood flow down, so a stronger heart and less body weight bring better flow, and not smoking, whereas veins bring it up. Exercising more, not sitting, being younger, being healthier, eating a better vegetable diet, not smoking, doing all these good healthy things. If you're eating sugar all day, if you have diabetes, if the more weight you put on, it's an exponential amount of work for your heart. So your heart has less force through each individual vein because you have so much more body mass volume that your heart has to push. And it gets exponentially harder the more weight you put on for your heart. So obesity is one of the biggest things. But that's great news because losing weight is something most people can do, and that means your veins will get better. So the older you get, the harder it is. But the big risk factor is standing or sitting for long periods of time. So sitting for long periods of time can really lead to blood flow problems because the biggest thing that pushes blood flow through your veins besides your heart is your muscles. So with the valves, every time you stand on your leg, the muscles squeeze and they push the blood flow forward and it can't recoil back. So realistically, simply walking will flush all the blood flow out of your legs. So things that help in this regard are compression socks and massage cuffs as well. So when I sit at a computer all day, maybe I don't get up every hour, but I have massage cuffs pushing blood flow up my calf. So if you're getting spider veins and a lot of swelling, compression devices can help push blood flow up. And that's something I recommend to all my friends and people I work with, not just patients. There's different types of compression socks. So there's the knee-high ones that are over the counter. There's knee-high ones prescribed by a podiatrist. These ones that you buy over the counter are more like 10 millimeters to 15 millimeters of mercury. But what I would recommend is start off with over-the-counter stuff. The doctor stuff is hard to get and it's so tight and so uncomfortable that you can barely move, and it might not necessarily be good for you unless your doctor specifically recommended it. As always, I include some of my favorites, some of the best rated ones, but you don't have to get anything from me. These are not my products by any means. Prevention is get healthy. Eat vegetables, don't eat bad foods, wear good, reasonable shoes. And I'm gonna talk about specifics soon, but don't wear things like high heels, flats. Avoid walking barefoot around the house. That's a very big one. Exercising, weight loss, not smoking can really help out. Control your salt, your diet, but blood clots are very dangerous. So you have to see your podiatrist or your primary care doctor, where usually a venous Doppler will be performed. So with a venous Doppler, it's essentially a handheld device that presses against your vein. So it sees if the blood flow is going up and if the valves are broken down, how congested that vein is. And realistically, decisions can then be made on that. We can make varicose veins and swelling a lot better. And what I mean by that is you don't need surgery vast majority of the time. Nobody needs surgery the vast majority of the time. Yes, are there times people need surgery? Yes. But will this get better without surgery? Almost 100% of the time, never 100%, let's say 95+%. It will get better by doing the things I talk about. But first, let's talk about surgery. The thing about surgery is there are a few different surgeries. So there's radiofrequency surgery, there's sclerotherapy, there's laser treatments that don't actually involve an incision, there's going in and basically cauterizing the inside of the veins because, hey, listen, the valves are broken. You can basically destroy the vein and get it to collapse in on itself. Your deeper veins will still control the blood flow, so it's not a big deal. But this is really what these surgeries do. They just make the veins collapse and get plugged and seal up. That's really the goal of all these. Do they work? Yes, they work, but they don't get to the root cause of the problem, which is realistically, why are these veins so engorged? You can kill off the veins and get them to shut down, but then other ones throughout your life will basically engorge and shut down. This is actually a surgery being done, but I blurred it out because otherwise YouTube would penalize me. I don't want to show gross stuff and get in trouble. But where surgery might make sense is if you're a young, healthy person that's already doing all this stuff and has tried everything. That's where surgery might make sense. But if you haven't tried all this other stuff, then the surgery probably will not be that effective and you'll get varicose veins back pretty quickly again. So the number one most effective thing that I see is great shoes and great slippers. Listen, they don't have to be ugly shoes. Some people consider this an ugly, but this is called a maximalist shoe. Basically, it's a lot of cushion and a lot of support. So what makes a good shoe is a stiff back. See how I can't really push it down and it doesn't really bend? Try that with your shoe at home. Stuff that has no support. So when I say that is, watch what happens to this foot model. It just collapses. And when it collapses, it stretches all the muscles on the inside of your ankle and everything on the outside of your ankle. That means your knees buckle in and your feet twist out. That happens to everybody. So your knees buckle in and your feet buckle out. Let me give you an example. When you walk on the beach, it's very soft and cushioned, but everybody gets tired after half an hour walking on the beach. But now on the other hand, imagine you had a good supportive shoe and you were walking on a gym floor. You could probably walk a lot longer, a lot faster, and a lot more comfortably on the gym floor with good cushioned shoes. And as your muscles are not overworked and sore, they don't swell as much. Your skin doesn't stretch as much. Your veins don't stretch as much. Because as your knees collapse and your feet buckle out, that puts more stress on your veins, your tissues. This can lead to swelling, lymphedema. Biomechanics are the quickest and the easiest thing to correct this type of swelling. So specifically, start with a good slipper. So take a look at this. I link some slippers in my favorite shoe guide. Check down in the show notes. But simply a slipper with an insole like this. So see, I even put some padding. It's an insole that goes in the slipper. If you're in winter time, you can get a slipper like this. Check this out on the other hand. Flip-flops. So I have flip-flops. These are called the Hoka slides. Look at how thick and cushioned they are. So these can be just as, probably more supportive than most people's shoes. So you could even get a flip-flop if you're in a hot area like Florida or a warmer country. And you can wear something like this and get a ton of support. Just doing that is very effective. Now the next thing is orthotics. So check what happens to my foot. Shoes can help it from buckling out, but I know this seems like it's a model and it's not your real foot, but look at, as I push down, see how it's not flattening out? But if I give it a flat ground, see how it flattens out? And just in case you think it's my hand, check this out. Look at how much it's flattening out right there. It's buckling out to the side, whereas check out this orthotic. It's stopping it from buckling out, even though it's a little unstable. So that's how effective orthotics are. So getting a good shoe and a good orthotic, again, I'd link some basic low-cost ones. You don't have to go get anything expensive. Start with something low-cost and efficient. Can be extremely helpful. Hey, guess what? We have a phenomenal book. I believe this is the premier book on chronic nerve pain and peripheral neuropathy pain on the planet. I've put years of work seeing tens of thousands of peripheral neuropathy patients, working with some of the best diabetic endocrinologists, the best doctors, the best neurologists, in building out this book. For you, my viewers, we have a discount code available. Get on our mailing list and get that book down here.